Have you ever felt that she responds to you, smiles, even seems connected, but deep down, something is out of place? Have you ever noticed that, even when everything seems to be flowing, there is an invisible resistance, almost as if she were testing you emotionally without you knowing? The truth is that the female mind, when it comes to desire and emotional surrender, works with codes that 99.9% of men ignore. And this costs her dearly. It costs her interest, her desire, and most importantly, the chance to truly win the heart of a woman who seems unattainable. In the universe of feminine psychology applied to attraction and relationships, there is no room for guesswork or random attempts. Women, especially the more secure ones, instinctively resist what is predictable. They no longer want a man who reacts, but rather a man who understands. Understands the unspoken signs, a silent emotional language, the hidden tests she does to find out if you are an ordinary man or someone who has mastered the right emotional strategy. If you're like most men who watch this channel, you've probably experienced the classic scenario: intense conversations, deep looks, quick replies on WhatsApp. But then, out of nowhere, she cools off. She disappears. And you find yourself asking, what did I do wrong? But that's the wrong question. The right question is, what do I still not understand about female psychological functioning? Because while you invest time and energy trying to please her, she is silently evaluating whether you have the strategic emotional presence that activates real desire. And here comes the central point of this video, the one thing that 99.9% of women resist, and that almost no man masters. An emotional code so powerful that when understood, it completely transforms her perception of you. This has nothing to do with beauty, status, or ready-made phrases. It has to do with the ability to provoke emotional triggers deep, to understand the right time to speak and the right time to remain silent, to know when absence speaks louder than any words. So stay with me until the end, because now you're going to discover something that no woman will tell you, but her instinct will always demand. Because in the real game of attraction, those who don't understand the psychology behind resistance are already losing. And the most amazing thing is that all this happens while you believe you are doing the right thing. You respond quickly, compliment at the right time, show genuine interest, and yet she starts to pull away. It seems confusing, but it is actually logical. Logical when you understand the feminine psychology applied to attraction and relationships. Most men still think that being present and kind is enough. And while these attitudes have value, they do not activate the deep mechanisms that truly awaken emotional and strategic desire in a woman. What activates is something more subtle, more invisible, and at the same time more powerful. Today, in this video, you will have access to what I call hidden emotional key. A key that, when you start using it, she starts to see you in a different light. Not as just another guy trying to please, but as the man she feels she needs to decipher, conquer, and keep close. That's the turning point, because the man who awakens the feminine instinct of conquest, of emotional challenge, is the man who remains in her mind, even when he's not there. And that's what we're going to talk about now, without beating around the bush, clearly, in depth, with what I call unfiltered female psychology. You no longer have to try to guess what she wants. You will learn to read between the lines. You will understand why her silence is sometimes more revealing than any text message. You will realize that "I'm busy" can be a test, not a fact. You will know when walking away is not giving up, but rather creating an emotional impact. And all of this is not a game. It is conscious emotional strategy. It's the kind of behavior that differentiates men who are forgotten from men who are remembered, desired, and even emotionally feared by women who swore they wouldn't get involved. If at any time you have thought, why did she change out of the blue? Why does it seem like she lost interest even when everything seemed fine? Comment below. Tell me, have you ever experienced this? Right, I've felt this if you have ever felt like you were losing a woman even though you were doing everything right. Your comment will show me that I am talking to you. One of my followers wrote to me a few days ago, and what he said represents exactly what many men go through in silence. He said, "Man, she seemed interested. We talked every day, she smiled, responded quickly, sent long audio messages, until suddenly she disappeared. No good night or good morning messages, just silence. Was it something I did?" And I ask you, have you ever felt like that? Like everything was going well and out of nowhere, she shut down emotionally without giving you an explanation? This type of situation happens much more often than you might think. And the reason isn't in the words exchanged or the obvious attitudes. It's in what most men haven't been trained to see, the hidden signs of feminine psychology applied to relationships. Women rarely pull away because of something visible. They pull away because At some point, something essential stopped being felt. And that something is the emotional presence of high, strategic value. It is the invisible impression you leave on her, or the lack thereof. And this absence, even with all your good intentions, ends up being perceived as emotional weakness. What this follower experienced was not a conscious mistake. It was a lack of emotional reading. He was there, present, available, kind, but he was not emotionally dominant. He was not generating enough psychological stimulation, because while he was concerned with keeping the conversation flowing, she, subconsciously, was looking for signs that this man was rare, intriguing, difficult to predict. And when she did not feel this, her desire receded. It was not her fault. It was a lack of emotional strategy. This story, unfortunately, repeats itself every day. That's why it's so important that you understand, from now on, that winning over a woman for real has nothing to do with the frequency of messages or obvious compliment. It has to do with the impact you have on her subconscious. And that's what you're going to learn here. If this has ever happened to you, comment below, "It's happened to me," or "She disappeared out of nowhere." I want to know who is really experiencing this firsthand. Most men believe that when a woman resists or pulls away, it's because of pride, insecurity, or even some kind of game. But the truth goes deeper. And if you don't understand it, you'll continue to be trapped in cycles of emotional frustration. Women don't resist by accident. They resist when they realize you don't have a crush on them yet. Firm emotional direction, when they feel that you are being guided by your own emotions and not by the strategic attitudes that generate true attraction. This is the first crucial point, the illusion of control. You may be convinced that you are in control of the situation because she responds, because she smiles, because she says she enjoys talking to you. But deep down, she is the one testing you the whole time. And these tests are not overt. They are subtle tests. They are silences, changes in behavior, unexpected disappearances, questions thrown into the air. All of this serves to measure your internal stability, your emotional energy. And if you waver, even without realizing it, she feels it. And when she feels it, she backs off. Soon after, without realizing it, you enter an even more dangerous trap, the invisible comfort zone. And she is exactly that, invisible. You think you are being attentive, present, kind, consistent, and she interprets all of this as predictable, controllable, too safe. Women don't fall in love with what they can control. They fall in love with what challenges, what intrigues, what stirs inner movement. The deadly mistake is to be that too nice guy, the one who is always available, always saying yes, always sending affectionate messages, because the lack of emotional intensity turns you, in her eyes, into someone comfortable and not desirable. And here comes another critical point that almost no one teaches: absence of emotional mixture. An emotionally active woman needs to feel spikes of curiosity, of tension, of validation. When everything about her interaction with you is linear, predictable, without variation, she begins to resist, because the female brain responds emotionally to variation. And make no mistake, this is not about creating drama. It is about unfiltered female psychology. A strong emotional presence requires emotional intelligence, knowing exactly when to break the pattern, when to create a slight discomfort, when to disappear a little to generate presence. The well-balanced emotional mix is what awakens in her that feeling of, "I can't stop thinking about him," even without knowing why. Another mistake you need to avoid at all costs is what I call show too much, too soon. Many men make this mistake, thinking that the more they talk about their feelings, the more intimate they will seem. But the effect is the opposite. When you emotionally undress before the right time, she feels like she has the upper hand. And when a woman feels the emotional upper hand, her instinct for challenge disappears. Result, she loses interest. She starts to see you as something settled, given, predictable. Desire disappears not because you did something wrong, but because you gave her the riddle before she wanted to decipher it. Imagine an emotional scale. On one side, her. On the other, you. If your side is completely exposed and hers is still under construction, the balance is lost. She needs to feel that she doesn't know everything about you yet, that there are still layers to be discovered. And that's where we come to the most powerful key of all. Get into her mind, not her life. Most men try to force space in the heart, seek direct approach, try to impress, please, make themselves present physically or virtually. But the men who really awaken something strong in a woman are those who invade her mind first. How? Through calculated emotional absence, phrases that echo days later, words that touch memories, subtle stimuli that activate curiosity. When she starts thinking about you without understanding why, you won. Not because you insisted, but because you created an invisible presence. Because you acted with refined emotional strategy. That's how you become unforgettable. Not through direct intensity, but through the mark you leave on her imagination. If you've come this far and realized that you've fallen into one of these traps, whether it's being predictable, showing too much, or trying to get into her life by insisting, comment below. Right? I used to be predictable. Or I gave everything away too soon, if any of these situations describe you. Your comment will help other men who are in exactly this phase. And what's more, it shows that you're ready to change that now. What you just learned here is not the kind of content you easily find out there. And do you know why? Because almost no one has the courage to say it clearly. Almost no one talks openly about what really makes a woman resist or give in. And even fewer teach how to activate these emotional stimuli in a conscious, strategic, and respectful way. Most men continue to believe that they need to be the most handsome, the richest, the funniest, but you are beginning to understand that none of this is enough if you do not know how to access what really commands female desire. The invisible emotional field, where her true decisions happen. This is the territory of feminine psychology applied to attraction and relationships. This is where you start to stand out. This is where you learn what separates the ordinary men from the ones who leave deep emotional scars. And now you have an advantage that 99.9% of men don't even know exists. You're understanding that the secret is not in chasing, in pleasing, or in showing more than you feel. It's in provoking the right stimuli at the right time. It's in knowing what to say, when to say it, and, most importantly, when to keep quiet. It's in mastering the emotional presence that makes her stop resisting and start chasing you. Because yes, when properly activated, the female mind reacts intensely, but only to what she doesn't fully understand, to what challenges her emotionally, to what makes her feel, without her knowing how to explain why. And if this video made you think differently, if at any point you felt that this content spoke directly to your experience, stay with me because this is just the beginning. In the next video, I will show you the 3 words that have the power to change a woman's desire in less than 5 seconds. Words that are not magical, but rather deeply connected to the way the female brain reacts to emotional stimuli. So if this one touched you, the next one will transform you. Now tell me below in the comments, which part made you reflect the most? Write, "This opened my mind," or "I want more about this," if you felt that this video said exactly what no one has ever explained to you. And if you want to continue on this journey with clarity, depth, and strategy, subscribe to the channel now, because here, we reveal what she will never tell you. This is Unfiltered Female Psychology.